Hare Krishna. Please accept my most humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnana Timandasya Chinanjala Shlakaya Shakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namah Chaitanyamayobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svam Rupagadamyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiyuda Padakamanam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivan Sadvaitam Savdutam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jyatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamama Haripaye Vancha Kalpa Visha Kripa Snabhi Visha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnabhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharin Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskatyai Desatarana Srila Prabhupada Ki. So today we will continue with chapter 22 of the 8th Canto, Bali Maharaj surrenders his life. But before we continue, I want to hear what you remember from last class. So whatever you remember and want to share, please share. Raise your hand when you remember some things. So no one remembers anything of previous lesson. So whatever you remember, what you think significant, please share.
Just one little thing, but really kind of struck me that Bali Maharaj, he was not afraid of anything except of being defamed. This was his great concern, and because of being afraid of defamation, he stuck to his promise. He wanted to stick to his promise, so that he would not be known as somebody who cheated a Brahmana.
So, yeah, his honor as a Kshatriya was very important. Yes, that if I don't keep my word, because in his family, all the kings in his family had always kept their word, so he had also to keep his word. To be a worthy Kshatriya, a Kshatriya keeps his word. Anything else you remember? That the pastime, inner mood of Bali Maharaj? That it was the inner mood that he was surrendering, but did all the demons appreciate what he did? Any further thoughts? Please participate. That And share what you remember, whatever you remember, even if it appears insignificant.
No, the demons were not appreciative Maharaj. The demons were considering Bali Maharaj to be somewhat foolish, naive, and giving away everything to the Lord and not thinking about his future, not thinking about the whole demoniac plan, how they would survive if the heavenly planets were taken over by the demigods and everything, right? So they were more along the lines of Shukracharya,
Yes.
thinking that what is Bali Maharaj doing here? He's not thinking about us at all.
Yeah, so it seems everyone was against Bali Maharaj, that the whole world. And what did he do? Did he change his opinion not to surrender to the sun?
No.
To Vamandev? No.
He deliberated fully and decided that, following Vishnu, serving Vishnu is the ultimate purpose of life and goal. And on that basis, he rejected his guru and had a big dilemma whether to follow the instruction of guru or to serve the Lord directly. And on the basis of saying that if the guru is going against my basic principle of serving the Supreme Lord, then I have to reject that guru. So,
Yes. That sometimes in the Krishna consciousness movement we have to go against public opinion, and that very difficult. Very difficult, very sensitive also. That okay. Then we will continue with text 11. So text 11 we will share on the screen. We'll first read in the beginning the first verse, the Sanskrit. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jyamudiryat. Nastrayesya Bhatrasu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Uttamasoke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Ataham apyatma ripostavantikam devena nita prashabam tyaitachi. Idam ketantantika vakti jivitam Chaya dhruvam stapta materna bhutyate. Can someone read the translation, please?
Only by providence have I been forcibly brought under your lotus feet and deprived of all my opulence. Because of the illusion created by temporary opulence, people in general who live under material conditions facing accidental death at every moment do not understand that this life is temporary. Only by providence have I been saved from that condition.
Thank you. So Prabhupada writes, Bali Maharaj, he appreciated the actions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although the members of the demoniac families except Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj considered Vishnu their eternal traditional enemy. As described by Bali Maharaj, Lord Vishnu was actually not the enemy of the family but the best friend of the family. The principle of this friendship has already been stated. Yasyaham anugrinami arisyetattanam shanai. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.88.8. The Lord bestows special favor upon his devotee by taking away all his material opulences. Bali Maharaj appreciated his behavior by the Lord. Therefore he said, Daivena Nita Prashabam Chaitya Shri. It is to bring me to the right platform of eternal life that you have put me into these circumstances. So, being afraid of all of you working for your friendship and love and society. So everyone is working for friendship, love and society. Second paragraph. Actually, everyone should fear the so-called society, friendship and love, for which he works so hard all day and night, as indicated by Bali Maharaj by the word Chanad Bitaha. Every devotee in Krishna consciousness should always be afraid of the common man engaged in pursuing material prosperity. Such a person is described as Pramata, a madman chasing the will-o'-the-wisp. Such men do not know that after a hard struggle for life, one must change his body, with no certainty of what kind of body he will receive next. Those who are completely established in Krishna consciousness philosophy and would therefore understand the aim of life will never take to the activities of the materialistic dog race. But if a sincere devotee somehow does fall down, the Lord corrects him and saves him from gliding down to the darkness region of hellish life. So, why is Srila Prabhupada calling it a dog race? We hear sometime about rat race, but Srila Prabhupada calls it a dog race. Race means to find out who comes first. It's a competition. If you want a job, you have to be like a dog with its tail between its legs, begging, please give me a job. You worship God or you worship dog, Prabhupada said. Srila Prabhupada said that the dog goes on 4 legs and the person goes on 4 wheels. They race in their cars to go to work and the dog is running on his 4 legs. You live like a dog and you work like a dog. He suffers like a dog. But if a sincere devotee somehow does fall down, the Lord corrects him and saves him from gliding down to the darkness region of hellish life. Ananda gopir vishatam tamishram puna puna sarvita sarvananam. That is Lord Prahlad Maharaj's teachings. Ananda gopir vishatam tamishram. Uncontrolled senses brings one to hell. Punaspuna sarvati sarvananam. It's always the same stereotype activities of trying to satisfy the senses. In Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.30, that on this verse that Prabhupada comments, the materialistic way of life is nothing but a repeated chewing of that which has already been chewed. Although there is no profit in such a life, people are enamored of it because of uncontrolled senses. Nama pramata kurute vikarma. Because of uncontrolled senses, people fully engage in sinful activities by which they get a body full of suffering. Bali Maharaj appreciated how the Lord had saved him from such a bewildered life of ignorance. That, see, moment. Yes, Subhadra Radhika doesn't hear. Does everyone else hear me? No?
We can hear you.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, we can hear Maharaj.
Okay, that's good. Because that's important. The purpose is hearing. That, okay. Moment, I try to close this shut. Okay, yeah. That's good. Bali Maharaj appreciated how the Lord saved him from a bewildered life of ignorance. He therefore said that his intelligence had been stunned. Stapta Materna Bhujyate. He could not understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead favors his devotees by forcibly stopping their materialistic activities. So it's a different vision on life. That so many things do not work out in our life when you become a devotee, Krishna stops it forcibly many times. And that's his mercy. Jiva Goswami, here's a commentary. It is in 6.11.23 of the Bhagavatam. That this verse says, Our Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, forbids his devotees to endeavor uselessly for religion, economic development and sense gratification. O Indra, one can thus infer how kind the Lord is. Such mercy is obtainable only by unalloyed devotees, not by persons who aspire for material gains. So Jiva Goswami explains that if an independent-minded devotee strives to attain some material things in the three worlds, then the Supreme Personality of Godhead creates obstacles for the devotee to obtain his desires. The word akinchna gochara means that if the devotee strives to obtain material pleasures or non-devotional liberation, then the Lord creates obstacles to stop the devotee. The word akinchna means pure devotee. That has already been explained in Bhakti Sandarbha. So what is an independent-minded devotee? So every devotee in our movement is practically different, so independent. Those who think we are brainwashed should meet the devotees. They all think differently. That's what Burijan says. And how is Bali Maharaj feeling here? There is a passage of the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 37, that illustrates how Bali Maharaj is feeling. So, from Nectar of Devotion. The symptom of ecstatic affection with reverence felt by Bali Maharaj was expressed as follows. My dear Lord, you have simultaneously punished me and showed me your causeless mercy. My conclusion is that when I have taken shelter of your lotus feet, I shall never be disturbed in any condition of life. Whether you give me the opportunity to enjoy the yogic perfections or you put me in the most abominable condition of hellish lives, I shall never be disturbed. Krishna himself, after seeing Bali Maharaj, told Uddhav, My dear friend, how can I express the glorious characteristics of Bali Maharaj, the son of Virochan? Although the king of the Suras, demigods, was cursed by the son of Virochan, and although I cheated him in my incarnation as Vaman, taking away his dominions through the universe, and although I still criticized him for not fulfilling his promise, I have just now seen him in his kingdom, and he feelingly expressed his love for me. When such a feeling of love becomes intensified, it's called affection. In that affectional stage, one cannot bear separation from Krishna, even for a moment. There is a story of a rich former Muslim disciple of Indradyumna Maharaj. That's interesting. A disciple of Indradyumna Maharaj from Baku in Azerbaijan. that before he was a Muslim. So he prayed in Vrindavan to Shishirada Shyamasundar to take away all these obstacles. At his initiation, he said, Allah gave me everything, and Krishna took everything away and offered me himself. That's the difference. Interesting in realization. So can someone read now text 12, 13, 14 and the purport of 14? It's a short purport. Text 12.
Hare Krishna.
Please.
Shukadeva Goswami said, O best of the Kurus, while Bali Maharaja was describing his fortunate position in this way, the most dear devotee of the Lord, Prahlada Maharaja, appeared there, like the moon rising in the night time. Then Bali Maharaja saw his grandfather Prahlada Maharaja, the most fortunate personality, whose dark body resembled black ointment for the eyes. His tall, elegant figure was dressed in yellow garments. He had long arms, and his beautiful eyes were like the petals of a lotus. He was very dear and pleasing to everyone. Being bound by the ropes of Varuna, Bali Maharaja could not offer befitting respect to Prahlada Maharaja as he had before. Rather, he simply offered respectful obeisances with his head, his eyes being inundated with tears and his face lowered in shame. And the purport. Since Bali Maharaja had been arrested by Lord Vamanadeva, he was certainly to be considered an offender. Bali Maharaja seriously felt that he was an offender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Certainly, Prahlada Maharaja would not like this. Therefore, Bali Maharaja was ashamed and hung his head.
So after all of this happened, he saw himself as an offender. He lost everything. He is arrested and cursed. Bali Maharaj thinks, I'm the offender. So his pure devotee grandfather comes and he's feeling very ashamed. So can someone read text 15, 16 and the purport of 16?
When the great personality, Prahlad Maharaj, saw that the Supreme Lord was sitting there, surrounded and worshipped by his intimate associates like Sunanda, he was overwhelmed with tears of jubilation. Approaching the Lord and falling to the ground, he offered obeisances to the Lord with his head. Prahlad Maharaj said, My Lord, it is your Lordship who gave this Bali the very great opulence of the host of Heavenly King. And now, today, it is you who have taken it all away. I think you have acted with equal beauty in both ways, because his exalted position as King of Heaven was putting him in the darkness of ignorance. You have done him a very merciful favor by taking away all his opulence.
Yeah.
As it is said, should I read purport?
Yes, sir.
Purport. As it is said, Yasyaham anugrhnami harishye tad dhanam shanai. Bhagavatam 10:88-8. It is by the mercy of the Lord that one gets all material opulence, but if such material opulence causes one to become puffed up and forget the process of self-realization, the Lord certainly takes all the opulence away. The Lord bestows mercy upon his devotee by helping him find out his constitutional position. For that purpose, the Lord is always ready to help the devotee in every way. But material opulence is sometimes dangerous because it diverts one's attention to false prestige by giving one the impression that he is the owner and master of everything possessing. Although actually this is not the fact. To protect the devotee from such a misunderstanding, the Lord, showing special mercy, sometimes takes away his material possessions. Yasyaham anugrhnami harishye tad dhanam shana.
So when you get something and then you lose it all, it means you did not use it in a proper way. And now in text 17, can someone read text 17?
Material opulence is so bewildering. Go ahead, Prabhu.
That it makes even a learned, self-controlled man forget to search for the goal of self-realization. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, the Lord of the universe, can see everything by his will. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
So Prahlad is glorifying the Lord. You gave him everything and now you have taken it, and both actions are beautiful. So I will read the second part of the purport. Yeah. So practically no one is interested in God. One's relationship with God, or how one should act. Modern men have altogether forgotten such questions because they are mad for material possessions. If this kind of civilization continues, the time will soon come when the Supreme Personality of Godhead will take away all the material opulence. Then people will come to their senses. So Srila Prabhupada said this in the 5th Canto about America. He said that America is so opulent, but the leaders have made a stone boat, and the leaders are going on the stone boat, and everyone will follow the leaders on the boat. Then the boat will not float on the water, but sink, and everyone will drown. If the Americans listen to the devotees and they are profoundly serious, then they can prevent this happening to their country. Interesting. Prabhupada's advice for America. Text 18. Can someone read the translation on 18 and 19?
Sukadeva Goswami continues. O King Parikshit, Lord Brahma then began to speak to the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the hearing of Prahlad Maharaj, who stood nearby with folded hands. But Bali Maharaj's chaste wife, afraid and aggrieved at seeing her husband arrested, immediately offered obeisances to Lord Vamanadeva, Upendra. She folded her hands and spoke as follows.
Yes, so Bali's wife could not contain herself. Although Brahma was about to speak, she was disturbed in mind to see her beloved husband in that condition. So she interrupted, practically speaking, Lord Brahma, and she said something to the Lord. That in text 20, she will be criticizing Bali Maharaj. Can someone read text 20?
Srimati Vindhyavali said, "O my Lord, you have created the entire universe for the enjoyment of your personal pastimes, but foolish, unintelligent men have claimed proprietorship for material enjoyment. Certainly, they are shameless agnostics. Falsely claiming proprietorship, they think they can give charity and enjoy. In such a condition, what good can they do for you, who are the independent creator, maintainer, and annihilator of this universe?"
Yes. So she's criticizing Bali Maharaj. That she's thinking, oh, by giving charity I will be able to enjoy this world by piety, and by my increased piety so she's saying about Bali Maharaj, he's thinking that by giving charity I will be able to enjoy this world of piety, and by my increased piety, my ability to sustain being the king of heaven, and therefore I shall enjoy. She's criticizing, and what is the basis of her criticism? Vidyavali says that it is not for enjoyment, but for Vamanadev's enjoyment. Why wasn't Brahma insulted? He was the head of the universe. He was about to offer his well-considered prayers, and then this Mataji comes along and just starts talking, emotionally criticizing her husband. So if someone is disturbed in mind, then let them do whatever they have to do. So Brahma didn't mind. This was also shown when Nityananda Prabhu kicked Shivananda Sena. And Shivananda Sena's son became very disturbed and went to see Mahaprabhu directly. And he wasn't dressed properly. And Swarup Damodar pointed that out, and Mahaprabhu said, no, he's disturbed. We should remember these very natural points of etiquette and respect for all living entities. So we will try to read the purport that I will read the purport and some comments between. So Bali Maharaj's wife, who was most intelligent, supported the arrest of her husband and accused him of having no intelligence because he had claimed proprietorship of the property of the Lord. Such a claim is a sign of demoniac life. So we can also see how it fits us as well. What do we think is ours? What are we proud of? What do we fear losing? So, further. Although the demigods, who are officials appointed by the Lord for management, are attached to materialistic enjoyment, they never claim to be proprietors of the universe, for they know that the actual proprietor of everything is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the qualification of the demigods. But the demons, instead of accepting the exclusive proprietorship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, claim the property of the universe for themselves through demarcation. They say, this part is mine, and that part is yours. They say, this part I can give in charity, and this part I can keep for my enjoyment. These are all demoniac conceptions. This is described in Bhagavad Gita. Idam adyamaya labdam imam prapshe manoratam. Thus far I have acquired so much money and land. Now I have to add more and more. In this way I shall be the greatest proprietor of everything. Who can compete with me? These are all demoniac conceptions. So, even if we think that we have a little piece of the universe that is ours, as long as we ourselves think the owner, this conceptualization is born out of false ego. That is born out of illusion. And therefore it is demoniac. It is the mentality of someone who has turned his back to Krishna. So we have further. So Bali Maharaj's wife accused Bali Maharaj by saying that although the Supreme Personality of Godhead had arrested him, showing him extraordinary mercy, and although Bali Maharaj was offering his body to the Supreme Person of Lord, to the Supreme Lord for the Lord's third step, he was still in the darkness of ignorance. Actually, the body did not belong to him, but because of his long-standing demonic mentality, he could not understand this. He thought that since he had been defamed for his inability to fulfill his promise of charity, and since the body belonged to him, he would free himself from defamation by offering his body. Actually, however, the body does not belong to anyone but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whom the body is given. as stated in Bhagavad Gita. So, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Etasayunatistati Brahman Sarvabhutani Yantrodaya Maya. So the Lord is situated in the core of everyone's heart. And according to material desires of living entity, the Lord offers a particular type of machine, the body, through the agency of the material energy. The body actually does not belong to the living entity, it belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Under the circumstances, how could Bali Maharaj claim that the body belonged to him? Thus, Vindhyavali, Bali Maharaj's intelligent wife, prayed that her husband be released by the Lord's causeless mercy. Otherwise, Bali Maharaj was nothing but a shameless demon, specifically described as Tyaktvayastva Avaropitaka Trivada. A foolish person claimed proprietorship over the property of the Supreme Person. So Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada is, even nowadays, Srila Prabhupada is criticizing current leaders. Of course, we may agree with Srila Prabhupada, but even nowadays, the mass of people will not disagree with Srila Prabhupada's bold statements here. Because even on the level of climate changes, there are certainly and obviously tremendous mismanagement that is threatening the world. The weather changes, the melting of ice caps, the different species of life are annihilated due to what? That is my land, the fighting, the killing of each other. Srila Prabhupada criticized the United States that you stole land from the Red Indians. Then you say if someone comes into the country, you cannot come, it's ours. But it's stolen property. Which country is not guilty in trying to possess stolen property? Every country in the world, it's a crime. Not only stealing is a crime, but also to purchase stolen property or to claim the stolen property is your own. It's a crime. So everyone is guilty. And if we give the property back to the people that we stolen from, but they also have stolen. If anything is the land is our land, and if you come to take it, then we will kill you. Because everything belongs to Krishna, and this type of mentality, and this is the type of mentality, and only if humanity develops Krishna consciousness can this mentality, which goes so much sectarianism, division and fight, be finished. Krishna consciousness is based on true knowledge that everything belongs to Krishna. Even us, me, I belong to Krishna. What to speak of this body I need to leave behind? At least theoretically we should know we belong to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. For the moment that I claim something as mine, then immediately there is duality. That duality is explained in a verse in the 11th canto. Bhayam tvitiya binebesata syat isat tapitasya viparyayo smriti tanmaya yato buddhapyatechvam bhaktya kayasam gurudevatatma. Fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as a material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy. When a living entity turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency of illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotion and service of the Lord, under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity, as his very life and soul. So as soon as we claim anything as mine, immediately there is duality, a separation between us and Krishna. And immediately fear enters our heart. Fear of losing what is mine and fear of losing what can never be mine. It can never be mine. It's just an idea in the head, in the mind. That so yes, Prabhupada writes further. Yeah, in the purport. In the present age, Kali Yuga, the number of such shameless men who are agnostics, disbelieving in the existence of God, has increased. Trying to defy the authority of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so-called scientists, philosophers and politicians manufacture plans and schemes for the destruction of the world. So yes, the reason why we are building all these bombs, these weapons and biological weapons, it is not for peace. They say it is all for peace in the world. They cannot do anything good for the world, and unfortunately, because of Kali Yuga, they have plunged the affairs of the world into mismanagement. Thus there is a great need for the Krishna consciousness movement for the benefit of innocent people who are being carried away by propaganda of such demons. If the present status quo is allowed to continue, people will certainly suffer more and more under the leadership of these demoniac agnostics. So in essence, Vidyavali said that this is actually good, that he is punished, because everything belongs to Krishna. That one can only give what rightly belongs to him in charity. That Vidyavali. Vidyavali, when she saw first Lord Vamandev as a young brahmachari beggar, he was so beautiful and she fell in love with him. But then when he took everything away from Bali Maharaj, she hated him for a moment. And it is said later she became Putana in Krishna's pastime. Because Putana felt also motherly love for Krishna, but she wanted to kill him. And Vidyavali was also thinking he should be killed for a moment. That's interesting. Now text 21. Can someone read the translation of text 21 and the purport?
Lord Brahma said, O well-wisher and master of all living entities, O worshipable deity of all the demigods, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, now this man has been sufficiently punished, for you have taken everything. Now you can release him. He does not deserve to be punished more.
Can I read the purport also? It's short.
Yes, Maharaj. When Lord Brahma saw that Prahlad Maharaja and Vindhyavali had already approached the Lord to ask mercy for Bali Maharaj, he joined them and recommended Bali Maharaja's release on the grounds of worldly calculations.
Yes. So Brahma said, he has already been punished sufficiently. He has already been punished. He has served his term, so release him. That's summary text 22.
Hare Krishna. Bali Maharaja had already offered everything to your lordship. Without hesitation, he has offered his land, the planets, and whatever else he earned by his pious activities, including even his own body.
Mm-hmm. So, although one could say that Bali Maharaj was in illusion, thinking himself the owner of the universe, he made a sincere attempt to offer everything to Lord Vamandev, so that factually balances both sides. It's like offering the water of the Ganges to the Ganges. If we offer Lord Krishna anything, it is the same type of a gesture, because everything belongs to him. The Ganges water was already part of the Ganges. But yet it is a gesture, that it is the point that Brahma is making, that he has made a sincere gesture. Now, someone can read 23, please.
By offering even water, newly grown grass, or flower buds at your lotus feet, those who maintain no mental duplicity can achieve the most external position within the spiritual world. This Bali Maharaja, without duplicity, has now offered everything in the three worlds. How then can he deserve to suffer from arrest?
Mm-hmm. So, he must. Brahma says he's qualified to get the most exalted position within the spiritual world. So a true offering is not to get something. That is not a true offering. So without the duplicity, please accept this. And that is what Bali Maharaj did. Can you also read purport, please?
In Bhagavad Gita 9.26, it is stated, Patram Pashvam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachiti. Tadaham Bhakti Upakritam Ashnami Prayatmanaha. Thus, an unsophisticated person with devotion and without duplicity offers at the lotus feet of the Lord a little water, a flower, a fruit, or a leaf. The Lord accepts it. Then the devotee is promoted to Vaikuntha, the spiritual world. Brahma drew the Lord's attention to this subject and requested that he release Bali Maharaj, who was suffering, being bound by the ropes of Varuna, and who had already given everything, including the three worlds and whatever he possessed.
So he has sincerely made this gesture, his offering. So now in verses 24 till 26, the Lord is going to reply. We will first hear his philosophical reply. And he is actually going to reply to Brahma's words, not to Prahlad of Vindhyavali's words. Now, text 24. Can someone read the translation?
The Supreme Personality of God had said, My dear Lord Brahma, because of material opulence, a foolish person becomes dull-witted and mad, because he has no respect for anyone within the free worlds and defies even my authority. To such a person I show special favor by first taking away all his possessions. Purport, Maharaj?
Wait.
A civilization that has become godless.
Yeah, I just want to comment on this, because Prabhupada is using this word dull-witted. What does dull-witted mean? It means one's intelligence is not sharp, it is dull. What does that have to do with having material opulence? So pride comes as a result of material opulence. So people attached to material opulence become dull-witted, and in between they become proud. So what is the relationship between becoming dull-witted and becoming proud? Because they don't see that Krishna has given it to me, and that Krishna can take it away. So what is there to be proud of? If someone gives you so much money, $1 billion, and it's a gift, and a gift only, and suddenly you start thinking, I'm so wealthy, I'm better than the others. Is it not absurd? It could have given it to someone else as easy as he's giving it to you. It has more to do with kindness. So what is there to be proud of? But what wealth or any opulence tends to do with our consciousness is that it makes us dull-witted and proud. It means that we lose perspective of reality, on reality. Therefore, someone who is sharp-witted, he will be humble, because he never thinks that he possesses anything. You are the guardian of it for some time, for a short time. It has been placed in your charge, but it's not yours. If we extend our sense of I and me, and place it into an object, then it becomes mine. This is an expansion of illusion. Srila Prabhupada, if the Lord takes everything away, and then that is the first installment of the Lord's mercy, by removing the cause of the pride. And when the cause is removed, then the pride is removed. So please read the purport. Read now the purport, the short purport to text 24.
A civilization that has become godless because of material advancement in opulence is extremely dangerous. Because of great opulence, a materialistic becomes so proud that he has no regard for anyone and even refuses to accept the authority of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The result of such a mentality is certainly very dangerous. To show special favor, the Lord sometimes makes an example of someone like Bali Maharaj, who was now bereft of all his possessions.
Yes. Can now someone else read text 25, 26, 27, and 28?
Hare Krishna.
Please. Yeah.
While rotating the cycle of birth and death again and again in different species because of his own fruitive activity, the dependent living entity, by good fortune, may happen to become a human being. This human birth is very rarely obtained.
Yeah. Next.
If a human being is born in an aristocratic family or a higher status of life, if he performs wonderful activities, if he is youthful, if he has personal beauty, a good education, and good wealth, and if he is nonetheless not proud of his opulences, it is to be understood that he is especially favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, 27.
27. Although aristocratic birth and other such opulences are impediments to advancement in devotional service because they are causes of false prestige and pride, these opulences never disturb a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
And 28.
28. Bali Maharaj has become the most famous among the demons and non-believers. For in spite of being bereft of all material opulences, he is fixed in his devotional service.
So when our material ability, whatever our material abilities, we tend to take shelter of it. We tend to think it is ours. We tend to become proud, and in difficulty, we tend to take shelter of it. It means going for protection in both subtle and gross ways. If they are fearful, then the first thing they do is to count how much money they have, as if the wealth and money is going to protect us. But when a person loses everything and has no other shelter and just remains fixed and takes shelter of Krishna in devotional service despite of having no opulence, then he is exalted. And that is what we learn. Lord Vamandev says that we can have so many items of wealth or opulences. Krishna gives it to us, place them in our care. But if we become proud of them, and therefore take shelter of them, as opposed of taking shelter to Krishna, that's our greatest loss. If we lose everything else, and we remain strongly fixed in Krishna's shelter, one who can do that is exalted in this world. He grasps the jewel that he will never lose. So Bali Maharaj, he did that. So what was Vamandev's conclusion? Was he foolish for offering everything? No. He is most exalted because in spite of losing everything, he remained fixed in devotional service. So Bali Maharaj did not lose anything. He gained everything. And we will hear the conclusion after the pause. It's now nearly 6:30. We will have a break till 6:40 and then finish the chapter.
Recording stopped.
And have further discussions. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We will continue.
Recording in progress.
So, we will read text 29:30. Can someone read 29:30 translation, please?
Although bereft of his riches, fallen from his original position, defeated and arrested by his enemies, rebooked and deserted by his relatives and friends, although suffering the pain of being bound and although rebooked and cursed by his spiritual master Bali Maharaj, being fixed in his bow, did not give up his thoughtfulness. It was certainly with pretension that I spoke about religious principles, but he did not give up religious principles, for he is true to his word.
So here he says he's true to his word. It's quite a long list of slaps in the face here. From text 31 until the end, there is a description how Vamandev reciprocates with Bali Maharaj. He has taken everything, but he's given even more. Bali Maharaj had given up what is bound to taken from him by time anyway. And I've gained jewels through wealth, truly mine, from which I never will be separated from. To give up the temporary gain, to give up the temporary to gain the eternal, that is good business. Okay. Of course, Prahlad Maharaj, he said before in his teachings to his schoolmates, Kamraj het pachor dharmam barvatamyam dulvaman samchamam tapya dhruvam artadam. Prahlad Maharaj said one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice activities in devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved and achieved temporarily like other bodies. It is meaningful because in human life, if one can perform devotional service, even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give complete protection, can give complete perfection. So by devotional service, one can gain the eternal. Now we will go back to the purport of 25, because we skipped all the purports, because we wanted to hear the entire story first. So in the purport here, I read text 25 again. While rotating in the cycle of birth and death again and again in different species because of his own fruitive activities, the dependent living entity by good fortune may happen to become a human being. This human birth is very rarely obtained. So in the purport, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is fully independent. Thus, it is not always a fact that the living being's loss of all opulence is a sign of the Supreme Lord's mercy upon him. Sometimes, when one has no pride and no sense of proprietorship, then that mercy may come in the form of giving opulence. So in other words, the Lord gives you opulence when you are not proud, when you don't think it's mine, when you don't desire it. Krishna gives it to you to use in his service. So the Lord can act in any way he likes. He may take away one's opulence, or he may not. There are varieties of forms, and the Lord treats them according to the circumstances as he chooses. Generally, it is to be understood that the human form of life is one of great responsibility. Can someone read the rest of this purport, starting with the verse Purusa Prakriti story from Bhagavad Gita till the end?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Please.
Purusho Prakriti Sthohi Punkte Prakriti Jangunan Parananguna Sangasya Sarasa Joni Janmashu. The living entity in material nature follows the ways of life, enjoying the free modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil amongst various species. After thus rotating through many forms of life in the cycle of birth and death, the living being gets a chance for a human form. Therefore, every human being, especially one belonging to a civilized nation or culture, must be extremely responsible in his activities. He should not risk degradation in the next life, because the body will change. Tata dehantara praptir. We should be extremely careful to see to the proper use of life is the purpose of Krishna consciousness. The foolish living entity declares freedom from all control, but factually he is not free. He is fully under the control of material nature. He must therefore be most careful and responsible in the activities of his life.
Yeah. Text 26. If a human being is born in an aristocratic family or a higher stage of life, if he performs wonderful activities, if he is youthful, if he has personal beauty or good education and good wealth, and if he is nonetheless not proud of his opulences, it is to be understood that he is especially favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the purport: when in spite of possessing all these opulences, then a person is not proud. This means he is fully aware that his opulences are due to the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He therefore engages all his possessions in the service of the Lord. A devotee knows very well that everything, even his body, belongs to the Supreme Lord. So that is of course why we do put tilak on the body. This is to show that the body is a place where the Lord dwells. And it's not meant for my sensual pleasure, but it's made for worship of the Lord. Therefore let me use this body in his service. Prabhupada continues, if one lives perfectly in such Krishna consciousness, it is to be understood that he is especially favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, in other words, if one can do this, that shows that one has received Krishna's favor, Krishna's mercy. It's extraordinary. It is wonderful if someone can live in this world, but without being in the grip of it due to his sense of possessing. So cultivating a sense of possessiveness is what conditioned souls do, and become free from it means one ceases to be a conditioned soul. Prabhupada writes, the conclusion is that once being deprived of his wealth is not to be considered the special mercy of the Lord. If one continues in his opulent position but does not become unnecessarily proud, falsely thinking that he is a proprietor of everything, this is the Lord's special mercy. Now can someone read the purport of text 27?
Devotees like Dhruva Maharaj, who was given unlimited material opulence, have the special mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Also, Kuvera wanted to give Dhruva Maharaj benediction, but although Dhruva Maharaj could have asked him for any amount of material opulence, he instead begged Kuvera that he might continue his devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When a devotee speaks in his devotional service, there is no need for the Lord to deprive him of his material opulences. The Supreme Personality of Godhead never takes away material opulences achieved because of devotional service, although he sometimes takes away opulences achieved by pious activities. He does this to make a devotee prideless or put him in a better position in devotional service. If a special devotee is meant for preaching, but does not give up his family life, material opulences to take to the service of the Lord surely takes away his material opulences and establishes him in devotional service. Thus, the pure devotee becomes fully engaged in propagating Krishna
consciousness, yes. Can someone else read the purport of text 28?
In this verse, the words Sidam Api Namokhyati are very important. A devotee is sometimes put into adversity while executing devotional service. In adversity, everyone laments and becomes aggrieved. But by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a devotee, even in the worst condition, can understand that he is going through a severe examination by the Personality of Godhead. Bali Maharaja passed all such examinations, as explained in the following verses.
So, it's much easier to preach to others how to deal with the difficulties in life than when it's happening to oneself. The mind has a tendency to spiral downwards and forget the whole wonderful philosophy that we hear. Dying is so difficult because we are losing the thing that we are so attached to, the body. It is so disturbing, and one by one each of our senses we will lose. What is the last sense? It's hearing, at least in the natural process, but not always. It is such a blessing that the sense of hearing is the last sense to go. If difficulties come, then a devotee sees that this is Krishna preparing me. The examination or the real test is at the time of death. Can someone read a short purport of 29:30? Moment, yeah, there's the purport. Yeah.
Bali Maharaj passed the severe test put before him by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is further proof of the Lord's mercy towards his devotee. The Supreme Personality of Godhead sometimes puts the devotee to severe tests that are almost unbearable. One could hardly even live under conditions forced upon Bali Maharaj. That Bali Maharaj endured all these severe tests and austerities is the mercy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord certainly appreciates the devotee's forbearance, and it is recorded for future glorification of the devotee. This was not an ordinary test. As described in this verse, hardly anyone could survive such a test. But for future glorification of Bali Maharaj, one of the Mahajans, the Supreme Personality of Godhead not only tested him, but also gave him the strength to tolerate such adversity. The Lord is so kind to his devotee that when severely testing him, the Lord gives him the necessary strength to be tolerant and continue to remain a glorious devotee.
It's amazing if you think about it. He took away all Bali Maharaj's possessions, and then Bali Maharaj did something so noble. He offered his head for Vamandev's third step. Then Vamandev bound him and embarrassed him in front of all his followers, his wives and family members. He completely humiliated him. He lost his effulgence and his potency, so it's unromantic. When we do the right thing, then we expect the world to stand up and tell us how wonderful we are. And still Bali Maharaj kept fixed in his heart. You do what you like with me, like a purchased animal. I've given myself to you, just like an animal. This is the example to explain Atmanivedana. Sell an animal to someone else. When the animal is sold, the previous owner is not concerned anymore how the animal will be maintained. When one sells oneself or places oneself fully in the service of Krishna, now I'm yours. However you treat me, it's up to you. So Atmanivedana is very rare. So this is placing oneself fully under the protection of the Lord. And now in verse 31 till 36, Lord Vamandev explains how he's going to reciprocate. Can someone read translation text 31?
The Lord continued, because of his great tolerance, I have given him a place not obtainable even by the demigods. He will become king of the heavenly planets during the period of the Manu known as Savarni.
So he will give him the planet Sutal, which is more opulent than heaven, and he will become Indra during a different time frame, during the next Manu. Now, can someone read text 32 and 33?
Hare Krishna. Until Bali Maharaj achieves the position of king of heaven, he shall live on the planet Sutala, which was made by Vishwakarma according to my order. Because it is especially protected by me, it is free from mental and bodily miseries, fatigue, dizziness, defeat, and all other disturbances. Bali Maharaja, you may now go live there peacefully.
Yeah.
33. O Bali Maharaja Indrasena, now you may go to the planet Sutala, which is desired even by the demigods. Live there peacefully, surrounded by your friends and relatives. All good fortune unto you.
So he has given him a place which is better than heaven. And now can someone read text 34, 35, 36, so till the end. 34.
On the planet Sutala, not even the predominating deities of other planets, what to speak of ordinary people, will be able to conquer you. As far as the demons are concerned, if they transgress your rule, my disc will kill them.
Text 35.
O great hero, I shall always be with you and give you protection in all respects, along with your associates and paraphernalia. Moreover, you will always be able to see me there.
36.
Because there you will see my supreme prowess. Your materialistic ideas and anxieties that have arisen from your association with the demons and Danavas will immediately be vanquished.
So has given him a place better than heaven. But what was his greatest gift? Not his heaven, not his sutal. It was his reciprocation. The Lord will always stay with him, always be with him and give him protection in all respects. Purport. The Lord assured Bali Maharaj for all protection. And finally, the Lord assured of protection from the effects of bad association with demons. Bali Maharaj certainly became an exalted devotee, but he was somewhat anxious because his association was not pure devotional. The Supreme Personality of Godhead therefore assured him that his demoniac mentality would be annihilated. In other words, by the association of devotees, the demoniac mentality is vanquished. Satampa Sangam Mama Viryasam Vido Bhavantet Karna Rasayana Kata. When a demon associates with devotees engaged in glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he hardly becomes a pure devotee. So, this is the end of this chapter. Bali Maharaj has surrendered everything. Now the question is, are we ready to surrender everything? Or are we still thinking this is mine for my enjoyment? That it's up to us. Any questions, comments, please?
Maharaj, you have surrendered to the Lord. You're one of the fortunate person among us.
I don't know. I'm trying my best. But,
Yeah, very nice.
Some questions.
So one question comes up here, Maharaj, that such an elevated devotee, Bali Maharaj, who is able to make such an offering to the Lord, not just a small banana or apple, he offered the whole universe to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And surrender to him, and the Lord comes and interacts with him. Why is he still called a demon? He's the leader of demons. Even Prahlad is leader of demons. But why is this category of demons still mentioned? Though they are far superior than even demigods.
Well, that Krishna is in the heart of every living entity. And we wanted to be in this world and enjoy without Krishna. And Krishna is helping us. He gives us material nature, he gives all the facilities, he's doing that. So his devotee is also like that. Bali Maharaj sees they are demons, they want to enjoy, okay? Enjoy according to the scriptures, follow Sukracharya. But why does he not preach direct devotional service? Because there's a principle. You can only preach about pure devotional service to those who are ready for it, who are receptive for it. And they were not receptive. They wanted to enjoy by all means. So he was their leader and helped them to do that in a very expert way. But in a way that they still become elevated by following Sukracharya. It's going slow, but they still become elevated. So that was his service. And there's also many times our service, we have to preach to people on their level. And it's not easy sometimes. Because sometimes the audience is mixed, you have to be careful what you are saying, not to make not to make the ninth offense against the holy name, and not make offenses against Krishna's instructions in Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, yes, one should not disturb those who are attached materially, but rather engage them in devotional service in some way or another. And he says also at the end of the Gita, one should explain this secret to the devotees and not to those who are not austere and not devotees, because the qualifications to receive this knowledge also Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. You must be anasuya, non-envious of other living entities. You must be Krishna says to Arjuna, you are non-envious, and anaga, you must be sinless. You must follow the regulative principles and so on. Otherwise, you cannot receive this knowledge. So, who is ready to receive it? Krishna says, ye atama prabhachitam svajamyam, according to their surrender, I'm reciprocating. So Bali Maharaj is helping them to surrender a bit by following the Vedas. That's the beginning. But he cannot preach to them pure devotional service because they will reject him. But interesting is, they must know Prahlad Maharaj is a pure devotee. And now he reciprocated with Lord Nrsingadev, but still they cannot grasp really what pure devotion is. Because they are not ready for it, and it's a challenge how to preach to people. Now, Prabhupada went to America. Who was receptive? Most people are not receptive. Only these hippies who had given up already material life, but they didn't have a valid alternative, so they were halfway, and Prabhupada attracted them because he gave them an alternative. That we see that many times, that to attract people to Krishna consciousness. I always remember that of course we see now in the 70s in the West there were practically no Indians in our movement. Now, if you go to, I'm going to America, I'm going to Canada, I meet so many Indians who are there, but to preach to them is quite easy because they have accepted already the culture. But to preach to a Westerner and tell them you cannot eat meat anymore, no illicit sex and all these things, that is their life just. And you have to tell them you have to give that up. It's just unthinkable. Therefore, my Guru Maharaj Bhakti Charamaj, he knew this, that to preach in the West to non-Indians, it's not easy. So I remember I was preaching in the Ukraine. I'm still doing online classes now, and I'm in contact with all the devotees there. Because during 10 years, since 2004, I went to their festivals and traveling in the Ukraine from city to city. And I was in the Ukraine, and I wrote an email to my Guru Maharaj Bhakti Charamaj. Should I come to Ujjain for the Prabhupada Memorial Festival, the festival that I wrote this email, and 10 minutes later I had a reply. Just one line he wrote: you stay where you are, that this is not important. And that was his answer, because he knew that to preach in the West, it's not easy. It's not easy. Because to become a devotee, my whole family rejected me. So I don't know what family is. That's Krishna's mercy and family attachment. If I hear about family, that is for me those who are rejecting you. So what's the benefit of these relationships? So it's Krishna's mercy. I don't have this. But I had aversion in the beginning, but now it's watered out. But yes, it's a challenge. It's a surrender that. I always think I've a god brother in London, and he said to me, he's from Indian background, and he said, when I went to the temple, his parents said, yes, go to the temple, because what they are serving as prasad was not new for me. They are serving chapatis and dal and jalap, and all what they serve, that's also what we eat at home. It's no difference, no big difference. It's the same. It's the same. But when I came to the movement, eating rice, dal, chapatis, I never ate rice in my mind. What's rice? I didn't know. We were used to eat bread and potatoes and all. and sometimes, rice, they serve it with chicken or something. So you can imagine, but it's a whole cultural difference, and you have to leave one behind to accept another. And it's a big step to even to come in contact with ISKCON. Kadambakana Maharaj said, when I first saw the Hare Krishnas, he never wanted to be associated with them, because socially they were considered a dangerous sect and so on. But then he heard that George Harrison from the Beatles, he was also chanting Hare Krishna. So that was his authority. He said, that's the authority, and therefore I started to accept it. It's interesting that, But Bali Maharaj had also these challenges. All these demons, they wanted something else that he wanted. But he was educated by Prahlad Maharaj, that he got the blessings of Prahlad Maharaj. And that's very clearly in this purport. It's because of the blessings of Prahlad Maharaj, because he was in association of these demons. Otherwise, you cannot become a devotee in association of demons. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj, very nice. Thank you very much. And what he said is true. In the US and Canada, it's very difficult to bring in people brought up here in the Western culture into Krishna consciousness. So most of the people we have in our temples are the ones sitting in the background. And they're the easy targets. Easy one to bring in. As you said, the food is the same, and the clothing is the same. It's very easy, and they're worshiping the Lord they have heard about from birth.
Yeah.
So it's they are very easy to elevate into Krishna consciousness. But I think we need to figure out ways of bringing others also, and we haven't done a good job, especially in the last 20 some years. It has been lacking big time.
Yeah.
So something we need to concentrate on.
If you speak about North America, Canada, I'm also preaching in Quebec. Quebec is bilingual, English, French.
Yes.
And in Montreal, there are half of the congregation is English, because they speak, it's Indian, because they are speaking also English. and only a few of them they speak good French, but not many. But then I'm going to the north, and in the north you have Quebec City. That's 3-4 hours drive to the north. And there it's all French. There is no English, and there are no Indians. So when I'm preaching there in French, it's a different experience. So it's in the same country, but you have different, because I think the Indians go where they speak English, because otherwise to learn French is very difficult. Even for every English speaking person, it's difficult. It's a complete, so it's a Latin based language. Anyway, these are some of my experiences. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes.
As it is said, one should use his property or material opulence for the service of Krishna. But if we use our property for the service of Krishna, if we give to devotees, but if they do not manage well and neglecting the property, then what should we do?
What should we do? We should be careful that if we give something to devotees, they should use it in Krishna's service. But of course, there's also another aspect, that in Vrindavan, at the Radha Damodar temple, when Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj was there, and he saw that his disciples would not give charity to the beggars, he would chastise them and tell them they should give. So if you help someone to help their needs, their basic needs, it's a kind of compassion, and it's accepted by Krishna. But we should be careful that they not use it for sinful activities. That they use it for a need, an immediate need. That's a different thing. But if they use it for sinful activities, we will get karma from it. So that's something to be careful. But the act of giving charity in itself, that gives you a sense of detachment, and you understand it's not mine, but I give it to one who needs it. Because there is also the other aspect we find in Shri Upanishad. The Isavasya principle is there. Everything belongs to Krishna and should be therefore used in his service, Isavasya. But everyone has right on his quota. So every has right for his basic food and maintenance. If someone does not get that, you can help them to get their quota, to what they need. And that's a Vedic principle. That is all right. Just see they don't use it for sinful activities. Of course, better is if you give it to devotees who use it in Krishna's service. That's the topmost charity and the most safe. Does that help? Thank you. Anything else?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to make a small comment.
Yeah.
About the Putana and her previous life. Previously, I heard that in previous life she was younger sister of Bali Maharaj.
Okay.
And I found reference on internet to the side of Ramapada Swami and also in the Squat Physiatry that it was either his younger sister or his daughter. In different sources, they give different information who it was.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it was
I'm
not.
sorry,
It was not Vidyavali. It was his younger sister. Yeah. Thank you. That's a good point. Well, that's clarified. Anyone else? Okay, then we will stop here, and
Recording stopped.
we are looking forward to see you tomorrow for the next chapter. Please read chapter 23. We will discuss that chapter tomorrow. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada. Hare Bol.